dear aspirants, welcome to English Literature and Language Academy. Hope you are all well and doing well in your study. So today's video is specially made for PU lecturers exam in Karnataka, especially for English lecturers. As we have announced earlier, we are going to bring an analysis of previous questions were asked. This video lecture series will be very helpful in your upcoming PU lecture exams. So please don't miss this video lecture series. And in description box we have given our earlier video lecture series on this topic. So it is very helpful for PU lecturers exam, as well as you can take as sample questions to NET exam, SET exam, assistant professor exams, especially HSTR exams. So please do follow the description box. Let's move on the topics. So the first question is Felix Holt the Radicalist. Felix Holt the Radicalist is a novel written by, let's see the options. Option first, Thackeray. Option 2, Dickens. Option 3, George Eliot. Option 4, Anthony Trollope. So the answer is George Eliot. Answer is George Eliot. So this novel, Felix Holt the Radicalist, was written by George Eliot. Let us analyze this novel and novelist. First to take George Eliot. So about her, first her pen name is Mary Ann Evans is the pen name of George Eliot. And about this novel was written in 1866. Genre of this novel, social novel plus realist novel. Theme of the novel is political dispute. And what is the background of the novel? First reforms of 1832. This was the setting. And about George Eliot, she was a famous Victorian, look at Victorian novel, is nothing but mid 19th century English novelist. She never wrote with her name, she only wrote with her pen name George Eliot. It tells how the restrictions this tells us how the restrictions were in the Victorian age. And what are other novels by George Eliot, like Adam, Be They, and the second, The Mill on the Floss, third, Silas Marner, fourth, Romola, fifth, Middlemarch, and a last novel, Daniel Deronda. This was the last novel by George Eliot. So these are the important information. In this way, we have to analyze the previous questions. The second question is, which one of these critics, they have given 4 critics, defines criticism? What does mean by criticism according to one of these critics? As, look at criticism to him, a disinterested endeavor to learn and propagate the best that is known and thought in the world. Look at once again this statement. Criticism means to him a disinterested, very objectively, look at objectively, endeavor, achieve, to learn and propagate the best that is known and taught in the world. That is called criticism. So let's see the options. Option 1, Pater. Option 2, Arnold. Option 3, Lamb. It is Lamb. Option D or option 4, Thackeray. Guess the correct answer is Arnold. Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold. So let's see about him in the context of criticism. He was a famous Victorian poet as well as critic. Famous critic as well. So his essay, the function of criticism, the function of criticism at the present time. It was published in 1865. In this essay, look at the name of the essay is The Function of Criticism. At the present time, it was published in 1865. In this essay, he gives the meaning or definition of criticism as a disinterested endeavor to learn and propagate the best that is known and taught in the world. So with this, we try to understand Matthew Arnold was not a poet only, but also a famous critic. So with this, let's move on to the next question. The question reads, who said that England could do without, look at, without Indian Empire, but look, but not without Shakespeare. It means the Britishers can lose Indian Empire but not Shakespeare. Here, let's see the options. Option 1, Carlyle. Option 2, Hazlitt. Option 3, Lamb. Option 4, Arnold. Please remember, all these writers were belonged to 19th century England. 19th century England. So one of them quoted this in their lecture series, like England could do without Indian Empire but not without Shakespeare. The answer is Thomas. Look at Thomas Carlyle. He stated in his one of lecture series, the lecture series titled as, look at the title of the lecture series, the hero as poet, Dante and Shakespeare. Dante and Shakespeare. In this entitled lecture series in 1840, he quoted this statement, England could do without Indian Empire but not without Shakespeare. It means he is talking about importance of language, especially English language. Please remember, the sense of the question is importance of English language. So with this, let's move on to the next question. The author of, look at the here question is about writer, author of Plato and Platonism. Plato and Platonism. Let's see the options. The first option is Coleridge. Second option is Shelley. Third option is Ruskin. Fourth option is Pater. So once again, please remember, all these writers were belong to 19th century England. So here we need to understand their important writings or books, whatever they have written, the works in literature. So the question is the author of Plato and Platonism. This work was written by Walter Walter Pater. He was a famous critic, essayist in the 19th century. This work was written in 1893. So, dear aspirants, please remember in last time PU English lecturers they have asked most of the questions at background level. So with this we can understand how background is very important in this exam. It is very crucial topic that background is inevitable for literature. That is why most of the questions were asked in are at the background level. So let's move on to the next question. The expression harmonious madness. Look at the expression harmonious madness is from the poem. Look at this phrase was taken from which poem? Let's see the options. The first one is To a Skylark, Tintern Bay, third Christabel, fourth When I Have Fears. The answer is To a Skylark. It means harmonious madness is a phrase taken from the poem To a Skylark. This poem was written by P.B. Shelley in 1820. Please remember, it was written along with his lyrical drama named Prometheus Unbound. So please remember this. So harmonious madness. Look at these two words or a phrase described is in figurative language as oxymoron. So look at the word oxymoron. That means two words are opposing or contradictory in their meaning. It was used in poetry with intention. So the intention of the poet is giving the poetic effect by using such oxymorons like P.B. Shelley. In that context, the word harmonious madness in the poem To a Skylark P.B. Shelley used. So with that, let's move on to the next question is the other title. Look at subtitle you can call or other title or the other name of any poem. Here the question is the other title of the poem Resolution and Independence is, let's say what are the other titles or options are given here. Michael, Old Cumberland Beggar, Goody Blake and Harry Gill, the Leech Gatherer. So the answer is the Leech Gatherer. That is the subtitle of the poem, The Resolution and Independence. Let's see the background of the poem. This poem is written by William Wordsworth. He was belonged to 19th century romantic age. He was father of nature or romantic poetry. Please remember, he was father of romantic poetry. So the original poem is Resolution and Independence. So this phrase, the leech gatherer, you find in at the last line of the poem. The line reads like, I will think of, look at, I will think of the leech gatherer on the lonely moor. So this is the last line of this poem, Resolution and Independence. With this, let's move on to the next question. Which one of these is a central character is nothing but protagonist. Protagonist means main character in the novel Daniel Deronda. So here, please remember, novel is written by George Eliot. So we already discussed about this in the first question. So let's see who was the protagonist or the central character in the novel Daniel Deronda. So the options, like, the first one is George Osborne, next Sidney Carton, Gwendolyn Harriet, Mary Cath. The answer is C or 3, Gwendolyn Harriet. So, Daniel Deronda is a novel by George Eliot written in 1876 and published in the same year. It was the last novel by George Eliot. It was a Victorian novel, and the only novel of George Eliot having the setting in Victorian age or Victorian time or Eliot's contemporary time. So that's very important and notable feature. And another very important notable feature of this novel is this novel was adopted in movies forms 3 times. Please remember, adopted in movie forms 3 times. In that context, we can understand Daniel Deronda was a famous novel and very important novel by George Eliot. With this, let's move on to the next question is, which one of these works served as source book or motivational book for the legend of Psyche and Cupid in the poem of Keats' Ode to the Psyche? So let's see the options. The Golden Ass by Apuleius. Option B, 2. The Golden Bug by Fraser. Option 3. Paradise Lost by Milton. Option 4. The Fairy Queen by Spenser. So the answer is first one, The Golden Ass by Apuleius. So this was source book to write Keats his famous poem Ode to Psyche. So Keats was a famous romantic poet. His famous odes or poems, Ode to Psyche, Ode to Ottoman, Ode on a Grecian. Look at Ottoman and Grecian. On these topics, he has written odes. So in our coming video, we are going to bring a lecture series or video series on ode and other related terms. So the poem Ode to Psyche was written in 1819. 1819. With this, let's move on to the next question is, the rejected lover in Browning's famous poem The Lost Ride Together. So let's see, what does the rejected lover? The option 1, blames the mistress for the crisis and accepts his rejection as an act of fate. Option 3, blames himself for the crisis. Option 4, blames others for the crisis. Guess the answer. Answer is second one. He accepts her, please correct this one, her rejection as his an act of fate. That's the right answer. So please remember, The Last Ride Together was a very famous poem by Robert Browning. He was also a famous Victorian poet, and he was famous for his dramatic monologue. So dramatic monologue is very important genre or subgenre of poetry. This poem was written in 1855, and this poem was taken from his famous anthology Men and Women. This was famous anthology by Robert Browning. So finally, going to the last question. John Ruskin's Sesame is about? Options: first, statecraft; option 2, the right use of books; option 3, architecture; option 4, witchcraft. So the correct answer is the right use of books. So dear aspirants, please remember, this is a PU lecture question. This is a kind of very critical question you can find rarely in the books, because Ruskin CCM is a lecture series. Look at lecture series. Later it was published in the book format. At present is out of print. So in CSAME, this lecture series, he talks about the right use of books. So please remember, he states that in that lecture series, best books written by the most brilliant authors. He means best books can be only written by the best people. So he here referring the right use of books which were written by the best writer, that can be helpful to build our good personality. And his another famous statement, look at what he says about books. Best books, look at, best books are said to be best friends. Look at, he's advising to the readers for all ages that you should make not the people as their best friends, make the books as the best friends. So how he is trying to enlighten about the use of books, that really books are the best friends. And he divides books into four forms. Please remember, he divides books into four forms. In this way, John Ruskin, he was also influenced on Mahatma Gandhi ji. So he was a famous Victorian art critic. So in this way, we today end this previous analysis of the question lecture video series. So please subscribe, share, like and comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video.